Let's get a shoe shot. Yeah, that's my shoe. That's what they look like. Beat the crap. Since we were talking about shoe, or somebody was talking about shoes. I know I was talking about shoes, but there you go. I'm not really, but anyway, to start off, greetings once again, my semi-quarantined, maybe open, maybe closed group of friends here. I'm tired today. I don't know. I slept. I felt like I slept all right. I bought a new mattress several months ago. It's a great mattress. So uh, I don't know. I think maybe yesterday. It was probably my diet. I had breakfast for dinner and maybe overdid it just a little bit on the sausage patties. I mean, when you break open a roll of that stuff, it really doesn't hold over all that well. And so, you got to eat it. And so I did. But anyway, I guess, I'm not even going to get into the COVID bit this go round. I'm just not going to do it. It's, uh, it's just, I don't even know what to think about it. The truth of it is, it's like, it's still there, but now it's just kind of, I don't know. It's like it fell by the wayside somehow. It, but it's still there, but it's not making the news cycle. We are still in the middle of what I would tend to think would be a pandemic. Yet it's apparently just let's try to forget it and let's not worry about it and so here we are, but it's still there. Anyway, what's really been on my mind the last day or two is what I for lack of a better term, would just almost have to call this movement that the country periodically gets into, which I mean, it just kind of looks like, or it feels like it's almost like a what you would call a revisionist history movement, where we collectively, or at least a good portion of the population out there, feels like they need to be ashamed of or shame others that may not be of like mind into thinking that certain things within the society are part of the problem when it comes to the racial issues. And of course, that is what leads us into what again I would call, a revisionist history type scenario. I've got mixed feelings on it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to defend things that have happened in the past that have been obviously bad things, going back in the history of our country forever, as it comes to relationships among our our rainbow coalition of people that live in this country. Yeah, I'm not here to defend any of that at all. But I am, what brings me pause, I think, is things like Netflix jerking Gone with the Wind, which happened a couple of days ago, I think, as, being racially insensitive, piece of film history there. Even the other day, I read an article that said, and I don't know if I'm sure you've probably heard of Lady Antebellum changing their name because antebellum had a connotation which could be construed as being, somewhat derogatory, etc., etc. All those things and more. Apologies being issued for this and that. Uh, I think I guess I don't know if I call it indignant outrage. I don't know if I call it. I don't even know what words I'm looking for right this minute. But what I'm getting at is all of that is a part of the history and the fabric. And the argument, of course, could be made, well, Willie, yeah, that's why it's bad because it has become part of the fabric. Well, is banning the Confederate flag, let's just say, you remember the Dukes of Hazzard? I mean, banning the Confederate flag, toppling monuments to Confederate leaders and icons, renaming military bases that were named after a Confederate dignitary of one sort or another. The list goes on. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those conundrums I have in my brain again that I say, well, I think I understand where the people come from, but I don't know if trying to amend or erase is the solution more than learning that it is just a part of the history and that's just the way that it is. There's no way to change it. And I pulled up on Mr. and Mrs. Google a minute ago, just did a search for prominent Confederate leaders. Of course, you've got General Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, Beauregard, Jeb Stuart. The list goes on. I mean, there are, it's a long list. And so when you look at those, which are primarily those that are revered by having a monument of sorts or a military base named after them or things of that sort, when you look at that list and you say, well, these were military people who believed in their cause. Obviously, whether the cause was right, whether the cause was wrong, if you set that aside and say they were, for the times that they lived, they were considered to be honorable and brave and valiant people, no more or no less so than those from the North that were considered the same. So the question becomes, can we change what might be considered ingrained already in our culture, and is banning the Confederate flag, renaming monuments, and things of that sort going to change the mindset of those that already are set within their ways? Because as I mentioned in a previous video, there is racism in this country. There's been racism in this country, and I don't personally see it as something that is going to dramatically change. There's no way to flip the switch and make it any different. I don't care what anybody says, and it has been, and it's not just the Confederacy and the African American community here that could be considered to having been slandered in one form or another by the media or by Hollywood. If you look back and you even take a movie like Breakfast at Tiffany's, which you think would be somewhat innocuous when it comes to that kind of thing, but no, it portrayed the Japanese people as bucktooth, etc., etc. You look at early Disney cartoons. I mean, it's just a long list of stuff within the culture that has, because of the time that it took place, taken liberties with various groups of people, and perhaps characterize them in ways that we now know is wrong. But can we turn back time and make it so that never happened? Well, no, we can't. And should we pull everything that's out there and try to cleanse? I mean, is it some kind of purge? This just the unanswered question that I myself cannot come to grips with in my own head, because on one hand it's one thing, and on another hand it's another thing. Yeah, well, just consider that the rant of the day. That's just, whether you like it or whether you don't. I mean, what can I tell you? I'm not taking an opinion one way or the other, because I don't know if there's a right and I don't know if there's a wrong, but I know that I'm against trying to rewrite. I don't know how you can learn if you're willing and able to just pound your fist down and say we need to just get rid of it. We need to just make it go away, because it's not going to happen. And the idea of making it go away as a method of making some sort of systemic change within the society as a whole is false. It's just not going to happen. The depictions of various peoples was not brought on by what the media and the film industry did, in my opinion, because this started before there ever even was a media or a film industry. Anyway, I'm going to try to get through this just because it's a tradition. Well, heck. Oh, there it is. Okay. Looking for my pick. Well, started out down a dirty road. Started out all alone. And the sun went down across that hill. The town lit up. Got still. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. Well, the good old Adios.